Hello and welcome in. Today I'm making something a little bit different than usual. Most of my content is more spiritual related. This is not spiritual, but it's something I've thought a lot about because everything I create, I do it on my own. I don't have a big support system and I just try my best with everything that I am creating for myself and everything I want to create and work towards. And it's not easy. And I know I'm not the only person who does this because I follow you all on Instagram. I follow a lot of people on Instagram who are, supporters of what I do. And I see what you all post. I see a lot of you in the gym. I see a lot of you with your own businesses. I see a lot of you with your families. I see a lot of you working on creating lives for yourselves. And it's, as somebody who does it myself, I know it's not easy. And when you are someone who goes forward and tries to create a life for yourself, it requires a certain level of resilience and a certain level of faith and courage to go out and really chase after your goals and dreams. So this video is about something that's very important when it comes to that, and that is regarding failures and how we recover from them. If you go up to virtually anyone and you tell them, "I love to fail," they're going to look at you like you're crazy. And even saying "I love to fail" even now feels weird. It feels like a declaration of mediocrity. It almost feels counterintuitive. You hear phrases often like "failure is not an option" being spouted out by public figures or people online, but my point still stands. When you try doing something different and you're successful, it's a confidence boost and you learn what works because it makes you feel competent and capable. But what about when you fail? Learning how to fail correctly is a skill that most never learn and fewer still master. But after this video, I hope to be able to elevate you all, or whoever's watching it, just a little bit. I am constantly trying to improve myself. So if you are somebody who is a follower of my channel or just a random passerby and you're interested on improving yourself, then I suggest you stick around because I think we have a lot to talk about. First things first, I think you should discard hope. And I don't mean that in a weird way. But what I'm saying is that taking a chance on something and simply hoping for the best is kind of a setup for disappointment. Failure is not unthinkable, it's simply a fact of life. And keeping in mind the possibility of failure is responsible and it's a favor that you're doing for yourself. Let's say you were starting a small business and you invested all of your life savings into inventory and you opened a small shop. Opening day comes and goes, and after 2 months, your business tanks and you have to close shop. You failed. You now have no business, no alternate routes, no clear direction, and it's a tough place to be for anyone. What I'm getting at is you may be able to overcome or circumvent being stuck in such a discouraging place with 2 simple words: contingency plan. What's that mean? Ask yourself this: how many plans do you have? I'm sure you have a goal in mind, whether it's to start a YouTube channel, start a small business, get promoted at work, whatever it may be. And the plan that you have to achieve that is what we'll call plan A. But do you have a plan B or C or D? You shouldn't be pessimistic or expect to fail, but remember that failure is possible, so you should plan for that too. Say your one plan falls through. What's your next step? What's the quickest way for you to regroup and get back on your feet? What's another approach that you can take to attain your goal? Don't think of your goal as a single airtight plan. Think of it more like a destination with many different roads that you can take to get there. Your different approaches to a plan or a goal are more like a checklist. Your first option didn't work? That's fine. Noted. Now what's the next option? What's the next thing for you to try? It's really a process of elimination, and you're crossing out paths to your success that didn't work. You didn't fail at achieving the big thing that you set out to do. You failed at gaining momentum through one of the methods that you chose to try. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket, and don't hinge everything you are planning to do in the future on just one moment, on one singular thing working out. Try, fail, learn, adapt. If you find yourself desperately clinging to something becoming successful, then you could be getting your hopes up very high with a long plummet back down to square one if things don't work out. The energy of desperation is one that's tainted, and acting from a place of desperation can cloud your judgment and throw you off of your game, thus increasing the likelihood of failure. Be enthusiastic and optimistic, but let your optimism be grounded and firm. Because of the fact that you are aware that if one method doesn't work, there's always another method waiting for you to try it, another method beckoning you onward still. Dispense with the manic and blind optimism that social media sells you, and stand still and firm in a more balanced version of it. Embrace the game of trial and error with more solid footing, and you'll really see just how quickly you can progress. Sometimes you need to ask yourself, am I robbing myself of the opportunity to fail? You won't become accustomed to failing if you aren't taking chances and putting yourself in a position to gain something out of it. If you stay in your comfort zone, you will be able to live, I'm assuming, a relatively peaceful life, unencumbered by the burdens of uncertainty. But will you be fulfilled and will you be satisfied? Putting yourself in that box saves you from losing, but it also blocks your chances to win as well. So in the end, keep trying new things. And with each victory, you'll build confidence. And with each loss, you'll develop the skill of failing productively, laying for yourself the groundwork of resilience through experience. You yourself are an unending project, and knowing how to recover and improve in spite of letdowns is simply one skill among many that you should already have in your arsenal. Not all of the people you meet in life will have larger than life dreams, but for those among you who do, this skill is non-negotiable. For all of you out there who are out to create a name for yourself in the world, it is mandatory that you not let moments of failure interfere with your progress and the momentum that you've built up. When you're in that state of flow, you can really get the ball rolling in your life, and you can start making real waves in your life. And as you forge ahead, setbacks will crop up along the way. That's normal. These failures and setbacks can be kind of like a stone wall in front of you. Most people will see a stone wall on their path and feel like they're stuck. They'll stay where they are, stagnant, or even worse, they will feel discouraged and then they will turn and go back the way they came. They'll just give up. Now, because you know that there's always a way, you'll see a wall blocking your path and immediately start concocting ways of dealing with it. Do you climb over it? Do you knock it down? Do you go around it? Do you dig under it? The skill coming into play here basically sees you facing a failure head on, and instead of feeling stuck or discouraged, you immediately jump into problem-solving mode. This can be applied to unexpected situations in all areas of life. When you teach yourself to have this kind of thought process, you'll end up showing up more level-headed in your day-to-day life, and your energy will be more noticeable to people who operate on a similar wavelength. To those people who don't make excuses for failures and are eager to overcome any obstacles that come up along their way. This is also a skill that will help you to remain calm and collected and level-headed in a crisis, most of the time. I know that for me, there have been many moments where things didn't work out, where things went awry, and my first thought was to feel dread or to have a panic attack. But then I think to myself, okay, what's the next best thing that I can do right now? What is the next most helpful thing that I can do in this situation? Feelings and emotional reactions are perfectly normal because you're a human being. But by conditioning yourself a little bit, you can really stop negative, self-damaging thought spirals before they even start. This helps you to be able to overcome failures much quicker than the average person, and with practice it becomes almost automatic. It's sort of like having a superpower in a way. The path of becoming a better version of yourself, a better you, is not always easy and it's not always fun, but it is always worth it in the end. Some people have friends or family that help them get back up on their feet after a failure, but not everyone has a support system at their disposal. When you become your own support system, you become much more self-proficient, and as a result, you end up leaning on other people a lot less, due to being someone who has developed inner strength. Own your failures and take pride in trying and failing, because you and I both know that most people don't even try. They stay in their comfort zone prison cell, and meanwhile, you are out there shooting your shot in life. Major wins, triumphs, and successes are all things that you aim for. Victories are something that's always going to feel really big to you, and you probably give your wins a lot of weight. You could say you put your wins on a pedestal. The problem is, in a reversed type of way, you may also be putting your failures and losses on a type of pedestal as well. We'll just call this a reverse pedestal. You put a lot of emphasis on shortcomings and failures, and they're made to be blown out of proportion and giving too much importance and attention in your mental space. Take negative events and setbacks off of the reverse pedestal and shrink them down to size. Don't give all of your power away to your losses, and don't let losses take up precious real estate within your mind. You can have unsuccessful moments in your life that can feel like catastrophes, all of a sudden diminish in size and turn into minor annoyances on your path to a goal's completion. Take the time to turn a massive obstacle into a minor and temporary setback. When you make an obstacle feel more minor and trivial, it will be much easier to approach it thinking more clearly and constructively. There is a nugget of wisdom to be gained from every experience that you go through. And when you cultivate an attitude of expansion, you'll stop feeling so negatively towards failure and view it as an opportunity for learning, developing tenacity, and growing as an individual. Top-tier problem-solving skills do come as well as a side effect to finding workarounds to failures that act as obstacles on your journey to your next goalpost. A lot of you judge yourselves so harshly, and you're all so critical of yourselves. Sometimes you're a lot more lenient with other people, and you give them a lot of grace and a lot of understanding. You can wrap your mind around the fact that no one is perfect, and so if others fall short, you can be kind and comforting and offer words of encouragement and support. But when it comes to the way that you talk to yourself whenever you fail, you can be very cruel. You'll call yourself useless, stupid, good for nothing, an idiot, and a lot of other things that are so much worse. You forget so quickly that you yourself are human, a regular imperfect person who is also deserving of grace. It's okay to say something supportive to yourself, to say something that's nurturing to yourself. And it is never okay to say something that belittles yourself, to say something that's rude to yourself, or to call yourself names for failing at something. Why not? Because failing sometimes is normal, and it's an inevitability when you're on the path of trying new things and entering into new territory with the chances that you're taking in your life. It's all a natural part of the process. Learning to see all of it in a more neutral perspective is key. Listen to celebrities, musicians, artists, athletes, models, writers, scholars. Listen to interviews and watch videos where they talk about times where they failed, where they were rejected or lost out on opportunities. Seeing someone that you consider successful talk about moments in their life where they fell short can help you to kind of reduce the stigma that you have around failing, and it kind of helps you to recondition yourself so that eventually the thought of failing no longer acts as a deterrent or as something that would act as an obstacle to you moving forward with a plan of action. Another thing that's sad but true is that you will, almost 99% of the time, have to distance yourself from other people who give you a hard time for failing, people who shame you for failing. This can be a friend, a family member, a spouse, a partner, a coworker. When you keep people like that around, they tend to undermine your positive self-development, and they can cultivate a lot of self-doubt and fear within you. Sometimes it's unintentional, and other times they know what they're doing. I know that some of you can't get away from this single person or from this group of people, and in that case, simply stop telling people about any of your plans. Don't tell them about anything that you're working on. They can't instill self-doubt within you if they don't know what your goals are. And they can't douse you with discouragement if you keep your setbacks to yourself. You'll see how much of a relief it can be to try something new, have it flop, and not have to hear about it from some negative person in your life. In the era of social media, with the expectation that we all need to be perfect, it can feel embarrassing and even shameful to fail. What will strangers think? Or worse, friends and family? What if you try something and you get laughed at for failing miserably? What if you look pathetic? What if you get rejected? I can't simply tell you to grow a thicker skin, and becoming an unshakable person is a process all on its own. What I will tell you is that failing, struggling, and uphill battles do help you to become a much stronger person. And it teaches you how to be resilient and how to get back up on the horse when you fall off. So often we blow the idea of failure out of proportion, but the silver lining is there too. I've failed countless times. I've embarrassed myself, I've been rejected, I've lost out on opportunities, I've been turned away, I've lost out on dignity. And what did I learn even after those times where I failed spectacularly? That the world didn't end, that life goes on, and that some things are just a long process, and that some failures here and there are just a standard part of the process. I am so resilient now, and when you learn how to move with intention, embracing the possibility of failure, it will become so hard for things to break your stride, and so difficult for a setback to break your spirit. Always remember that your life is a garden and you are the gardener. Your reality may not always be a bed of roses, but through trial and error, you'll find that you end up with rich soil and an abundant harvest. How many times did I say the word fail in this video? So that's all I really wanted to say. I know it's not my usual content, but I see a lot of you working on building things for yourself and for working on your self-development, your self-growth, your spiritual growth. I see that a lot of you have your own businesses, and I find it really inspirational and really inspiring to see all of you striving to become a better you. Whether it's just working on your spiritual paths or working on yourself in other areas of life. So with that being said, I just wanted to share my opinions and thoughts towards failing and why I don't really think of it as a bad thing. Why I'm sometimes even excited to fail, you could even say, and why you should be too. So I hope you took something away from this video, and I hope to talk to all of you really, really soon in the next one. Take care.